today's lesson, we will recap multiplying and dividing by 10, 100 and 1000. Make sure you have your class book ready to make full notes and show your workings. If we look at 12 times 10, 12 can be made up as 1 10 and 2 1s. If we have 10 of these, we can see 10 tens make 100 and 20 ones is 20, so the answer to 12 times 10 is 120. Our number system is made up of base 10. Our place value works, so if we have 10 ones, we go to the next place value on the left, which makes the tens. 10 tens makes 100, which is the next place value to the left. And 10 hundreds makes 1000, which again is the next place value to the left. So if I have 1 that's 10 times bigger, that means I have 1 in the place value to the left. And if that's 10 times bigger, I have a digit 1 in the place value of hundreds. And 10 times bigger, 1 would be in the thousands. We can also see the inverse of this. 1 in the thousands, if it's 10 times smaller, it would move to the right. It would be 1 in the hundreds. 1 in the hundreds, if it's 10 times smaller, would move to the right. 100 divided by 10 is 1. And 10 divided by 10 is 1, which would move into the ones. It's useful to think of our place value when we're multiplying and dividing by powers of 10. It's much easier than setting up the column or grid method. Here, if I want to do 160 divided by 10, I know that if I divide by 10, all my digits are going to move the place value to the right. So here, if I have 160 and I divide it by 10, it becomes 16. We can generalise and say when multiplying by 10, the digits will move one space to the left. When multiplying by 100, the digits move 2 spaces to the left. When multiplying by 1000, the digits move 3 spaces to the left. You'll notice a pattern. The number of digits you move to the left matches how many zeros are in the power of 10. 1000 has 3 zeros, and I move 3 spaces to the left. It's quite a handy pattern to notice when multiplying and dividing by 10, 100 and 1000. If I divide, we move to the right 1 space when divided by 10. Dividing by 100, we'd move 2 spaces to the right. And dividing by 1000, our digits would move 3 spaces to the right. Let's see how this works with an example. 2.5 times 100. If I'm multiplying, I'll move to the left and I'll move 2 spaces to the left. So all my digits will move 2 spaces to the left. So the 2 would move from the 1 into the hundreds. And the 5 would move from the tenths into the tens. As I have nothing in the ones, I need to put 0 to hold the place value. So I can see 2.5 times 100 gives me 250. It's quite helpful to focus on one digit. 2 times 100 would mean 200, and then you know all the other digits will move accordingly. Here's another example. 542.1 divided by 10. If I'm dividing by 10, my digits are all going to move 1 place to the right. So the 1 will move into the hundredths, the 2 will move into the tenths, the 4 will move into the units, and the 5 will move into the tens. We can see that our answer is 54.21. Press pause and have a go at your questions. Let's check your answers. 4.7 times 1,000. If I focus on the 4 times 1,000 will give me 4,000. And the 7 moved from the tenths into the hundredths, giving us 4,700. 328 divided by 100. If I focus on the digit 3, it will move from the hundreds 2 places to the right into the units. So I get 3.28. Press pause and work on these questions. Make sure you show the full workings in your books. If you finish, now check your answers. Make sure you show full markings in your book. Press pause to ensure you have the full time to mark your answers. Let's check our reasoning. Multiplying by 1,000 is the same as doing times 10 times 10 times 10. Do you agree? And explain your answer. Do this in your book. Press pause. Well, 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times 10 is 1,000. So multiplying by 1,000 is actually the same as timesing by 10, timesing by 10, and timesing by 10. Sometimes it's quite handy to split a calculation down like this. You'll find it very useful when you're working with units of measure. Press pause and work on these questions in context. We will do more of these at the end of the topic, so if you're not ready for these now, you may save these till the end of the lesson 4. Let's go through the answers. Press pause so you have time for doing your marking. Here's another set of questions. See if you can work out the missing numbers. Press pause and complete these questions in your book. Here are the answers. Press pause so you have time for marking. Let's look at the GCSE question in context. Jacob was paid £10 an hour. His monthly pay for October was £890. How many hours did Jacob work in October? Make sure that you show full workings for this. Press pause and work on this in your book. Here we can see the correct calculation is to divide 890 by 10, where we result in 89 hours. If you've finished all the questions and still have time left in the lesson, go to the link of the practice questions and spend some time on those. At the end of the third lesson, there'll be some interactive questions to test your understanding, but there are more lessons that we'll be working on until then.